We have my nephew on the line in Connecticut. How you doing?
Doing well this morning, Uncle Rhett. How are you doing?
James Alfano. Well, how am I doing? Let's see. Well, I'm having all new teeth put in, uppers and lowers. So if you can imagine, I have my fakers in until my new teeth arrive, and my porcelain. So I'm very traumatized.
Are they implants, or how are they being put in?
Caps. All caps.
Caps. All right.
Yeah. Have you ever had this done?
I'm having one tooth implanted. I'm most of the way through the process. I'm at the tail end of it.
Well, you're having one done. Imagine what it's like to have 47 done. I don't know how many teeth we have, but it feels like 47. No.
But James, he has a beautiful smile.
Yes.
Daddy does.
I
have to get used to soft foods. I don't like going to the dentist, so I'd be drinking a lot of shakes and things like that.
Well, my friend Al, I was at a meeting last night, 8 o'clock at night, and my friend Al, after the meeting, says, "You look 15 years younger. What have you done to yourself? Something's different. Something's different. What have you done?" And I gave him a great big toothy smile.
And that's true.
It does make a difference.
Oh, it does make a difference.
What a difference some teeth make. Go see Dr. Plains. Dr. Plains will change your smile.
Change your life.
Yes, it changes your life. All right, we're talking about adoption. And my nephew I did not know existed. I did not know you existed, James, until a little over a year ago. And which has been a great blessing in my life. He also has a beautiful son named Jimmy and another beautiful son named Luke. And they're not only handsome, but they're handsome inside. They're very tender-hearted, good young men, very intelligent, and very athletic. Don't thank me. I had nothing to do with it. But anyway.
Actually, you did have a little to do with it.
Sure.
Your DNA running through their blood.
Mm-hmm. My DNA is in the blood. All right. So anyway, we have Renee Gelin on, and she's the one that makes those products that you put under your feet, so we can all be gelling, right?
Oh, God.
No, unfortunately, I have no proceeds from that product whatsoever.
So, okay. So what we had to be interrupted for the news. Let's get some clarification. People want to talk about adoption. A girl, this young lady gives up her baby. And she has no advocate, no legal advocate. When you purchase a car, they make you sign all these papers. Often you have to have an attorney for something like this. I mean, this is trafficking of humans. Now, trafficking has a pejorative term, but it is in fact trafficking babies. And there should be our government is doing their job with all the damn taxes we pay. They think they should. There should be an obligation for both sides to be represented by an attorney at law, and if they're not, then the contract is null and void. Right?
Yeah, and also, one of the other thoughts I had, in the support groups online, family preservation is one of my goals, and I've come across young expected mothers a couple of occasions. Mm-hmm. And one of the points I tell them, listen, if you don't listen to anything I say, listen to this one, or if you listen to just one thing I say, listen to this one thing. Take your time, have your baby, and embrace your baby, and keep that child for a period of time, because an infant, a 6-month-old child is every bit as adoptable as a newborn infant. They'll still take the child, so you don't have to rush to make this decision, and it gives the mother and the child time to bond a little bit.
Are you mad? Are you mad because you were adopted, James?
I don't know if I want. In some ways, yes, but you're putting a mother who's having all this distress in the position of making a lifelong decision at that moment. Let her take the child home. Let her live with the child, and then sleep on it and live and think about it for a period of.
Well,
months.
I don't think she should sleep on the child. It might smother it.
Right.
We're trying to lighten the subject.
Yeah. But just have enough time to process the decision, because it is a lifelong decision.
Right.
How did Linda? Linda used to date my brother. They lived together in 1969, the year of Woodstock. I was never told that Linda was pregnant, to the best of my knowledge. And although I do remember Woodstock, so, and I had quit smoking marijuana by this point, so I don't think it had anything to do with drugs. I don't think they ever told me. She put James up for adoption because my brother broke off the relationship, which was to my horror because I really liked Linda, and she gave some stability to us all, and all of a sudden my brother wanted to wander off and do his own shtick again. So you were adopted. And I never knew it.
Yep.
And now, what has Linda said now? I mean, this haunted her all these 40-some-odd plus years that she has not been able to hold her baby in her arms, right?
Yeah, well, maybe this is subject matter for another show where she's actually on it and speaking for her own mind.
Well, does she mind if you tell us?
Well, I don't know if I could properly explain that emotion.
Is she willing to come on?
Not at this point, but I think eventually. I've touched the subject with her if we've discussed it.
And you can understand. I can understand her wanting. This is very private. This is very. I mean, we ran into each other. She had a little sob, and we ran into it. Please.
It fell off. My headset fell off.
That's okay, but it's my ears.
How dare you? Get rid of her.
You're fired. No, but
get her out of the studio.
I wasn't yelling at her. I was yelling at the fact that the squeal was so loud in my ears. I may have to have hearing aids now. Is anybody there? I can't hear anybody.
Well, James, I have a question, James.
Well, hold on. What was I saying? Well,
I want to answer Beverly's question because I never get to do that.
Okay, Beverly, what is your question?
I wonder if your brother knew that Linda was pregnant. We talk about the women and being involved in adoption, having a baby. What about the role of the man?
Maybe she withheld this information because she was.
Didn't. He was told.
How do we know?
Because I believe her 100% when she tells me the story. He was told.
But does she remember telling him?
Yes.
But how do I know nobody told me?
I don't know. I can't explain because he's deceased. But I do know he put his hands up in the air and said, "What do you want me to do about it?" and walked out of the room, literally. Mm-hmm. And I could be angry with him, but I've gotten rid of that anger and I forgive him. So it is what it is.
Well, and I will say this. Now, I love Linda, but I will say this. I've learned this by living 60. I'll be 64
I know what you're going to say before you say it.
What?
There are two sides to every story, but I mean, that's...
Yep.
And then, she's lying, that's what happened.
And then there's the truth.
Right.
And by the way, I'm going to be 64 on November 21st, and I'm expecting a card from my nephew, all right?
Cece and I were talking about that. Yep.
You better write that date down, James.
Matter of fact,
I better write that date down for sure.
Matter of fact, I want to warn you. I want to warn you about.
I understand you call a little bit pissed off if Cece forgets your birthday.
I want to warn you. Uncle Rhett doesn't have a birthday. Uncle Rhett has a birth month. Okay, and so
you're one of those.
So,
it starts tomorrow.
And so when I win the lottery, I will be sending a private jet up to get you and your family, and then out to get Cece and her boys and her husband, and we're all going to have an Uncle Rhett party.
That sounds like a plan. I'm ready.
Sounds like a funeral.
What about this woman?
Okay, what about the woman?
Yeah.
Uncle, hold on. We got Reverend Bill here. Yes.
No, I was trying to get back to the lady who has SOS.
Oh, you mean get back to the radio show?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What a novel idea.
No, what is your solution for this? We've been all over the road with this, but what is your solution for a mother? What does your organization do?
Thank you. So basically what I ended up doing was, connecting with James and so many others on the internet and literally putting this grassroots network together that anytime that a mother is in crisis and is thinking about adoption, we will go ahead and reach out and talk to her. I'll usually find someone in her area on the internet, work with them, and obviously they're an SOS supporter. If they're an SOS supporter, most of us have lived the adoption experience in some form or fashion. Like I said, we're either mothers, we're adoptees, or even in some cases adoptive parents who understand and have seen and experienced the trauma that separating kids from their families inflicts. And so we'll basically go out, meet with the mother, explain things to her, explain her rights, explain that this is completely her decision, and just because the law says that she can sign in 24 hours after having her baby doesn't mean that she actually should. And we do exactly what James was talking about before. He mentioned, take your baby home.
Can I ask something? I want to ask something here. Is there a book? I'm thinking here, I'm a marketing guy. I'm thinking, and I know that James wants to write his book and blah, 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 but I was thinking I'd like to interview 20 mothers who gave up their babies for adoption. And then I'd like to have it for radio. We'll play it on the radio. Then I want to have it transcribed into a book and have it, 20, whatever we name it. And don't you think that would be does something like this already exist? Do they have books that? Oh.
Yeah, but not current. I should say that. I don't know current one. I know of a couple that were from the Baby Scoop era, and they did exactly what.
How about you, Renee? Do you know anything about a book that exists like that?
Not out of current. So basically, you're talking and going right down the path that I've been doing over these last 6 years. It's basically documenting all of these cases and understanding all the intricacies of each one of these cases, and really talking to the mom, and getting their understanding of where their head is at. Where are they at when they're considering this option, right?
Maybe we can, there's a lot of very successful, look, I was this morning with my friend who was an orphan, and he was adopted, and he is now a billionaire. He only has an 8th grade education, but he's a billionaire, and we were together at his house this morning, and I'm thinking maybe I could get, not him, I don't want to pick on him because everybody picks on him for money, but pick on, get some of these successful orphans or these successful adoptees and get somebody to finance this, and I would be at liberty to travel around this country for a couple of months and actually do these interviews to get this anthology together and make it available to mothers who, in advance.
Considering.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely what needs to be done. That's exactly what this organization is trying to do. That's my ultimate goal. I would love to be able just to travel the country, do seminars, explain to people what the pitfalls are in each of their states, to get them to understand the very, pointed points about what mothers need to really understand. For example, we had a mother just this past week. She had twins in Texas. Texas is a sealed state for original birth certificates. She had already gone through an adoption. Her son is 2 years old. She had no idea that she was never going to get her son's birth certificate and that her son was never going to be able to get his birth certificate.
Now, that is reprehensible. I don't know about the mother because the mother gives up right, but I do know this. Every human has the right to be able to follow their roots. Who in the hell does anybody think they are to subjugate the child being able to find out where they came from? No one has that right and privilege.
Well, the states.
Correct.
There are many states that believe that. It's all about the secrecy, and there's a whole myth out there that mothers want privacy. Mothers don't want to be reunited with their kids. Mothers don't want to see their kids again.
It's a lie.
And that is a blatant lie.
Yeah.
And, maybe many years ago when, for example, James was born, that there were mothers because of the shame and the whole status of being a single unwed mother. But here's the thing.
So hold on.
In today's day and age, today is all about the open adoption. So touting that same rhetoric over and over again,
what do you mean?
that a mother does not want to know her children, is totally contradictory to open adoption.
Now, the good thing is, the bad thing is back then, shame was used as a manipulative tool. Now, in society, it's totally acceptable. Matter of fact, it is honorable, whether it's a male or a female, to be a single parent and be dedicated in their life to another one that's a small child. And so, but today, we don't have that shame.
I think that there is definitely still shame that is shed. I mean, heaven forbid a mother need to apply for services. That shame is definitely out there. And so that's what this organization really is about. It's about giving them the resources and giving them somebody that they can call to say, look, I need to talk to you about this. I need some help with this.
Can I ask you, there's somebody very important that we've left out of this whole conversation all these weeks. Now, if a man, the father. Now, first of all, I think if you're going to make it responsible for a father to have to pay, anything for a child, then with that also comes the ability to help make this decision. Where's the option of a man saying, "Hey, that's my sperm. We had sex. She agrees we did. That's my baby. She wants to give it up, but I want to keep the child." The father should be allowed to keep that child, the natural father.
It is, and there are so many antiquated laws around that as well. The father has to know about this putative father's registry. So basically, anytime a man has sexual relations with a woman that, that could result in a child, he is supposed to go and file a legal document with the state and say, I may have a baby out there. How many men that you know would do that? How many men that you know even know about it? They don't.
None.
And these adoption agencies and these adoption attorneys know this. And they will try to skirt everything through.
Once again, we have to have the government come in, and they have to dictate morality. Isn't it a shame that we don't have the spiritual content of character, that people should be open and candid about these things? Mothers should be warned. The fathers should be told. We don't have it, and that's what's wrong with our whole damn world. Is everybody says less government, but then they said, but in this case we need more government. Oh, less government, but in this case we need more government. They want a babysitter.
The thing is this is education is the biggest thing, right? I work with people with addiction.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, each one is an individual. Each one has an individual case, but there's a common thread that ties them all together. And what you do with that is you teach them. And you can teach them you can teach them the basics, okay? No matter what state you're in, there's a basic thread that goes through the whole adoption.
Now, we're out of time for today, so I want people to be able to go to your Facebook. Renee, what is your Facebook page?
Facebook.com/adoption SOS.
No, you don't have to do that, because I just went to it. I put the word Saving Our, and it immediately came, you were at the top of the list, Saving Our Sisters.
Great.
Came
I'm
right
happy
up.
For that.
So get on Facebook, folks, Saving Our Sisters. Renee, thanks again for being on my show. My nephew, thank you, Nephew James, for putting this all together.
Thank you for having us.
I love you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Okay, Renee, bless you, and thank you for doing all the good you're attempting to do.
Thank you.
Okay, got to take a break, folks.